What's up, guys? Alec Enkiri here, and today we got a fun workout to review. This here is the first upper body workout on my training week, and I've currently got myself training on a 4 times per week upper-lower split. So there are 2 lower body sessions each week and 2 upper body sessions each week. And so this session right here is the first upper body session of the training week. And the workout here consists of heavy dips followed by some back off work, again on the heavy dip. And then I move on to a pairing of an overhead press variation along with a row variation. And then after that, I finish up the day with just a little bit of extra work for the shoulders. All right, so here we kick off with the weighted dip. And what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to do in this session is I'm trying to work up to a heavy single. Right now, a heavy single. It should be something tough, but it should also be manageable. And so I have 2 main goals right now with the entirety of the upper body work that I'm doing, right? Everything that I'm doing here is based around these 2 main goals, which is to improve my weighted calisthenics exercises. The 2 goals are the weighted dip and the weighted chin up. I want to hit a big single on both those movements. And so everything else that I'm doing is revolving around achieving those goals. All the other assistance exercises and secondary movements revolve around that. And so I'm trying to pick exercises that I think will benefit those primary goals. And so this session right here is biased towards the weighted dip, right? And then the second upper body session later on in the training week is biased towards the weighted chin up. And I'm running the same sort of protocol for the weighted chin up that I am for the weighted dip. And that is I work up to something heavy. Right now I'm doing singles, but in time I'll rotate through doubles or triples and maybe even sets of 4 and 5, right? I just want to work up to something heavy so that I can get a solid training effect. And then after the top set for the day, I take off a little bit of weight and I do some back off work. And so here I got up to 185 pounds on the dip, which is the highest that I've gone in recent history. I've been hitting 4 plates. I've hit, I don't even know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks in a row now, but this is the heaviest that I've tried going, just 5 extra pounds, but fuck you, those 5 pounds mean a lot to me. And honestly, this lift here was pretty easy. I was originally going to actually go a little bit higher than this, but I got a little out of position on my second to last set with 170 pounds. I got a little bit out of position on that lift, which made that lift more difficult than it should have been, and that made me get a little bit nervous, and so I ended up staying kind of conservative with the top single, more conservative than I probably should have. Still though, it was easy and it's good, solid work. So there's nothing wrong with that. I honestly think I probably could have done 200 pounds right then and there, if I'm being honest. I'm not quite where I want to be yet on this exercise though. And so what I want to do is I want to actually try committing to these exercises, these weighted calisthenics movements for the long haul, the dip and the chin up for the long haul, because that's something that I've never really done before, right? I've always done them in cycles. I've been doing them on and off in cycles for years, but I've never really committed to them consistently for the long haul. And I think that doing that, hopefully, fingers crossed, will finally let me push these movements to the next level, a level that I have not, that's been elusive for me, that I haven't been able to get to. I'm talking, I have goals of a 5-plate dip and a 4-plate chin up. And again, those are lofty goals, but in time, we can often surprise ourselves when we really commit to our goals. So I'm going to push for those numbers, at least as of now. And really, the only other thing that upper body-wise is kind of standing in my way is the push press, right? I love push pressing, and that's literally the only other exercise for the upper body that I actually give a fuck about trying to push into heavy ass PR territory, because I really want to push press 300 motherfucking pounds, man. So far I've done 265 pounds, but it was fucking easy. I had at least 10 pounds in the tank when I did that lift. And so eventually I am going to want to put the push press back into the rotation, and that will probably entail removing the dip when I do that. But for now, all the focus is on the heavy-ass weighted dip. And then after the dips, I moved on to a pairing of the overhead press and the Swiss bar row done on my hyperextension bench. Now here, on the OHP, my plan is to cycle through a few different variations. So, for example, here, I did the first set with 135 pounds on the straight bar, overhead press, and honestly, it felt like complete and utter shit. And I had been feeling this exercise going stale for a few weeks now. So when this set here, this first set felt so freaking shitty, I made the intra-session audible to finally dump it from the rotation for the time being. And instead I got in some work on the one-arm dumbbell overhead press. But that is not really the variation that I want to use moving forward. And so instead what I'm going to be doing for now is I'm going to use the trap bar overhead press for the next few weeks. And I actually did that yesterday in my Monday session. I'm filming this about a week after this session occurred. And so yesterday I went ahead and I knocked out a 3x12 with 115 pounds on the trap bar OHP, which is quite a different experience from the straight bar. And for now, it felt better. So that's what I'm going to stick with for the time being. And then I'll move on to something else, a different variation in a month or two. But it all has to be symbiotic, right? The program has to make sense as a whole. So if my main goal right now is to hit a big weighted dip, then I need to find exercises that are more likely to complement that movement. And so with the trap bar OHP, we're taking the shoulders to a large range of motion, which is important for dipping. And then we're also using a neutral grip, which as well is similar to the dip. And then in my other session later in the training week, my other upper body session, I'm going to bias the chest and the triceps instead of the shoulders. And so this time I'll use the Swiss bar as well as the Buffalo bar. This is part of the reason why I bought all these specialty bars. I'm going to get myself an SSB, a safety squat bar, but that's for some other different types of work. But so in this other session, I'll lead off with the bench press and I'll rotate between the neutral grip Swiss bar and the Buffalo bar so I can get a much greater range of motion on the chest, right on the pecs, right where the pec inserts into the shoulder. And then after that, I'm actually going to move on and I'm going to do a floor press using the Swiss bar, at least when I start off. And so, in my opinion, that movement, the Swiss bar floor press, should be highly specific to what I'm going for, to helping out my dipping endeavors. I'm going to do that exercise for high volumes. I'm going to use light weights. And the Swiss bar, by its very nature, is already going to bias the triceps, right? It's like a close grip, neutral grip bench press. So it already biases the triceps. But then, when you factor in that it's a floor press, that's going to emphasize the triceps even further. And I harp on the triceps here because that seems to be a really big sticking point of mine on the weighted dip. That second part of the movement is often the toughest part for me. So I'm hoping that by really hammering the triceps, and honestly, I think my triceps are just a little bit weaker, relatively speaking, in my upper body anyway. I can kind of feel that when I do certain exercises. And so I'm hoping that by really hammering the triceps in this semi-specific fashion, that I'll be able to rectify that weak point and hit some bigger weighted dips. And then I paired up the OHP here with the Swiss bar row done from my hyperextension bench. And this is definitely my favorite rowing variation at the moment. The Swiss bar, it just feels really nice here on these rows. And doing them semi-supported off the hyperextension bench is a nice way to reduce the hamstring and lower back fatigue that can come part and parcel with heavy rowing. And that's necessary for somebody like me because I'm already hammering my posterior chain on my lower body days. I got hip thrusts, I got RDLs, and I got a large volume of max effort sprint work. And so, like I said before, the program as a whole has to be symbiotic. All the parts have to work together in harmony. There cannot be one aspect that is leeching off of another aspect if you have a multifaceted set of training goals, which I personally do. And so creating harmony amongst all the moving parts is very important and is really what kind of makes this whole goddamn thing an art. And then to finish things up, I move on to the Lou Rays just to hit the delts before calling it a day. And I started here with the 35s just to kind of fuck around for a minute and see how they would feel. And this was my first time ever trying these plates, these 35s. And it's ugly as sin, I know that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not pretending that it's not ugly as hell because it is. But I'm actually surprised that I can even get these plates overhead like this, to be honest. And actually, something that I've started doing is working this exercise, the Lou Rays, working it a little bit with dumbbells as well. That was an idea that I got from you motherfuckers after I posted my video about how to build natty cannonball shoulders. And I highlighted the Lou Rays in that video, and a bunch of people mentioned using dumbbells. So I decided to give it a try. And so I only did this with these 35-pound plates once, but what I've actually been doing more often is I've been doing my heaviest set of the day with a pair of dumbbells that weigh 34, 35 pounds, something like that. And I've been able to do those for 10 pretty solid reps. And honestly, moving the dumbbells is actually a little bit easier than moving the plates. So I can get more high quality reps in that way. And what I want to do is I want to use the dumbbells as a bridge to be able to build up the shoulder strength that I need in order to move these 35-pound plates just a little bit cleaner. And I think that hitting 5 to 10 pretty solid reps with the 35s here in the future will represent quite a respectable degree of overall shoulder strength. And then after the heavy set with the 35s, I moved on to a few sets with the 25s, which honestly, the 25s are moving pretty easily at this point, pretty smoothly and pretty cleanly. And then after those, I finish up the day with a rest pause set using the 15-pounders. And the 15-pounders, honestly, they feel like paperweights at this point. They don't feel like anything in my hands. It's just that my shoulders are so damn tired at that point that I can't get that many reps. But in isolation, I've actually done a set of 25 unbroken reps on the Lou-Rays using these 15-pound plates and when I wasn't fatigued. And that's kind of the beauty of going heavy, right? On a movement like this, which is a kind of a fragile kind of movement, when you do go heavy, it can start out a little bit ugly, but it does make the lighter weights feel smoother and easier. And over time, you can focus your efforts on cleaning up the heavier weights, making those heavier sets smoother and better and cleaner. And so my shoulders are getting strong, guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much all I got, though. It was good stuff here. Solid workout overall. I've got some pretty strong fucking dips going on right now, and things are trending in the right direction. So hopefully I'll have some even heavier work to show you guys coming up in the next few weeks. Anyway, that's all I got for today, guys. Please be sure to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And definitely leave me some love in the comments down below. And if you're interested in online coaching or training programs, be sure to check out my website, www.enkirielitefitness.com, for more details. Keep training hard, and I will catch you guys next time.